Corbin, the Serpent Tongue Skipwith. I'm back with special guest today. Going up.
Martin Cargill from Second Chance Booking.
Nice. Again, thank you for joining me today.
No problem.
All right, so I reckon why not just start from the start, as all things should start. What was it? So tell me, what was your childhood like? What was it like growing up?
Growing up, it was pretty much like basically the same childhood that you always had, like everybody, but most of the kids have back in the '90s. Running around, be a little problem child running around.
Yeah.
I got in a lot of trouble. Didn't really care. It was fun.
Yeah.
My parents hated me. Like everybody's parents hate them now.
Yeah. Did you listen? Was there a big music scene growing up here?
I started in the music scene with my brother was in a band. I started working with him, and he wanted me to book shows for him around town. So then I started being a promoter, and that's how that all went down, and that's how I got into booking and everything else.
Yeah. So did you notice from obviously you would have noticed at a young age like oh shit, I have a natural knack for this, or did you pick it up later?
No, I picked it up at an early time.
Yeah. So you were just quick with thought, you were just quick with with noticing stuff that other people wouldn't. You just picked up on stuff quickly.
Yeah, at 4 years old, I was listening to every kind of music out there.
Wow.
Like Michael Jackson or MC Hammer or something,
Yeah. So what kind of music was your you said your brother was in a band, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of music was that? What kind of genre?
He was in he was in a punk band.
Yep. And so growing up for you didn't have a certain preference on music. You just loved all music.
I loved all music.
Yeah. So okay. So fast forwarding from your brother's band, when did you what year or how old were you when you started to realize, all right, I can do this for a living. I can be a promoter because I'm good at it.
It was pretty much 2001 I started doing promoting and everything else.
Yeah. So what kind of artists were your early promoters? So what bands or artists did you first work with?
I worked with a lot of punk bands, pop punk bands, acoustic acts.
Yeah. Do you have a certain a certain way of doing? Do you have your own unique way of doing things as a promoter that maybe other people don't? Do you have a certain mindset or a certain thing that you do?
Well, back then you had flyers. You didn't have Facebook. You didn't have MySpace. You didn't have any of that. So you had to go out flyering the malls and record stores and all that. Where now you can just go to Facebook and put on an event page and go for it.
Yeah. Would you do you like this new style of promoting, or would you prefer the old style what used to be?
I would prefer the old style.
Yeah.
Because the Facebook doesn't really give you everything that you can do. You can't really invite a million people. You can only invite probably 100 people or something like that.
Yeah. So do you have? So obviously that means. So would you have more fonder memories of maybe going door to door to different companies and promoting certain artists back in the day? Were you doing that a lot?
Your best bet is probably to go put it on a billboard or whatever.
Yeah. So 2001 onwards. So can you tell me anything about your career since then? Is there any so what has changed for you since beginning to do promotion and all that to now? What kind of stuff have you learned? What kind of experiences have you had?
Experience that I have heard is most of these bands today, they're annoying. They're pretty much, they want you to book a tour and then it gets down to the due date and then they cancel because they don't want to do it or they can't do it. And then I got to cancel the tour. And then they're, so right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to book, like if you're an unknown band, your best bet is to play breweries. Like if you could play like a 3-hour set, you can make $800 a night, instead of going to a venue that's going to pay you nothing. And
Yeah. Well, so I was wondering because, like, is there anything, I mean, obviously you just mentioned one, but are there any other like struggles or anything that maybe the common folk wouldn't know about when it comes to promoting? Anything behind the scenes that is either a struggle for you or something you have to deal with on a regular basis?
no, the main thing you got to do is market everything. It's pretty much, you got to be a marketer. If you know how to market stuff, you can market anything, and
Yep.
and that's the problem with these bands is that they don't market themselves. They don't think that they're a business. They think they're just this is like a hobby for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So the passion's not in it. It's just another thing for them.
Well, there's probably one guy in the band that has passion for it, and then the other guys just want to play video games and smoke weed all day, and then they don't,
Yeah. Do you have like a process on how to weed out people like that? Do you have like a
there's
way
really no you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
That
do
must be
have like there's a lot of like Facebook pages that have like touring bands and help me book my tour and help me do that. But most of those guys, they don't know how to do anything. Like most of these bands don't know how to do anything.
yeah.
And they don't
So
they don't have any knowledge about anything, you know? Like half of these kids don't even know how to write an email. And then they wonder why the venue ain't getting back to them or a promoter's not getting back to them.
yeah.
Because I get a lot of emails that say, "Hey, could you book my band? Thank you." And you're like, "What? Who's your band and what do you do?" Like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I think what you just said is something that's not touched on enough, I guess, in music industry is like, yeah, I guess as a band or an artist, you'd need core fundamentals in business, simple things, how to run an email properly, how to promote yourself properly before people like you even approach them. And I guess they don't talk about that.
Like a lot of people, this is the problem with the band. They don't understand that. They think it's cool to, hey, we're going on tour tomorrow. And it's like, I get questions all the time. They'll hit me up and say, where are we playing? What venue are we playing? Are they in good market? Are they good venue? Are they this? Who are we playing with? What are we doing? How much are we making? And it's like, you guys haven't even done anything yet.
Yeah.
All right. And they want to know all this stuff. Do we have to bring our own equipment when we tour? Well, yeah. Like, what do you like? I don't get it.
Yeah. So when you're looking at potential artists or bands, like is a past, is a solid discography something important to you before you consider like someone with a big catalog? Or is that something you don't really care about?
I don't really, listen, I can book any band. You can crap on a snare drum and I can book you. It's not really, I can book anything.
Yeah.
It's just the thing is you got to have the people that want to book you,
Yeah.
that want to play have you play their place.
Yeah. Is there any experience you can share over the course of your career so far of like a band or an artist that has just been exceptional in exceptional in everything behind the scenes? They did everything right. They're punctual. They're smart. They know business. Is there any band that you've come across where you've had that?
No, they have no business sense. They don't know what they're doing. Like I could give a band a month, like their tour date in a month, and they won't even promote it. They won't even do it. They'll just put it up on they'll put it up on their Facebook and call it a day. They don't do any marketing. They don't do nothing.
Yeah.
And then they want to know when they go to the show, hey, why wasn't anybody there? Well, you didn't do anything. You didn't try to promote it.
Do you feel like artists and bands rely too heavily on promoters to do everything. Because as you said, to do all their work, which they should be doing.
Well, here's the thing: the venues don't do anything. The venues, they just put it up and say, there it is. Promoters, the promoters want bigger acts. They don't want to deal with like some little flaky band coming in there, you know. And that's why I'm doing a lot of breweries, because breweries always have people coming in. It doesn't matter who's playing that day; they always have people coming in.
Yep. So I'm curious. So if a band, because I imagine, because I'm going to obviously try to promote this as much as I can after we're done, but like if a band watches this and goes, all right, I feel, I'm passionate, I'm up and coming, I want to make it. What would be like key steps you would advise any band to succeed?
I would say your best bet is just to market everything. Just market yourself and just go out there and talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah. So because obviously we'll both me and you the same. We'll see on Facebook or social media, Instagram, whatever it is. We'll see them post there. But sometimes I feel like even though I'm not an artist or a promoter, it seems like to me anyone can post on Facebook, anyone can post on Instagram, but like you need to take that extra step. But like, what would be that extra step?
But how many people are actually looking at that?
Yeah,
a lot of people can't look; they can't see it.
Yeah, it's really a case like to me. Yeah, I mean, obviously promoting on social media is important, but I feel like as you said, too many bands aren't trying to research, or they're not trying to do the extra step for their own careers and just relying on the 1 or 2 likes they get on Facebook, the one share, which ultimately wouldn't do too much in the overall scheme of things, which I feel like bands these days don't understand too much that like they expect a few shares to push their career.
Well, and then the other thing is you have these bands that want to buy on tours, and if you buy onto a tour, you don't get paid. All you do is sell merchandise, and then you got to play first. So at the end of the day, how many kids are really coming to see you? There's only like 20 people.
Yeah.
And you're playing 20 minutes, and that's it.
Yeah. It must be a real crazy journey to be in your profession, to deal with so many acts and deal with the drama and deal with the bullshit that comes along with it. Do you feel that like that most of the time you don't get enough credit or enough like enough people telling you good work for your job, or too many people?
No, these bands don't care. They don't care about me. They don't care about managers. They don't care about anything. And these bands are here today, going tomorrow. It's like, well, thank you for that show. I'll see you later. But we don't get enough credit.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if there was no clubs, there was these bands. Where would they play? Basement? Who really wants to go to a basement?
Yeah. Do you feel like back in the day when you were first coming up, do you feel like there was more respect then, or was it always be the same?
No, there was more respect. There was more of like a community. Now it's like not a community. It's like my band's better than your band, and I'm not going to play with you. And it's like, what are you guys doing? You guys need to get back on the community train and just, be together.
Yeah. Why do you think that sense of community changed over the years? Do you think it was anything in particular?
I think it's the kids. The kids growing up, they don't have a lot of communication. I think their communication skills are bad. Because if you start talking to these bands, they don't know anything. They don't know nothing. And half the time, their mom or their dad, their manager, and you got to look at them and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, what kind of career? If they want a serious career, what are they expecting with the little they're providing you? It's like they don't think about this.
But a lot of these bands that I deal with, they don't understand. They're just going on tour for a week or 2, and that's it for the year. It's like, no, you got to tour. But they don't get that. They'll do 1 tour a year and call it a day. and then they'll probably play out of the whole year. They'll probably play 40 shows out of the whole year, and you're like, what is that?
Yeah. Do you try and is that something you try and like, so if you're working with an artist or band, is touring something you try push obviously a lot, like as in how crucial it is?
Your main, I would tell people to do weekend tours. If you could do like, I don't know where you're at. Where are you at? Melbourne?
Melbourne, yep.
All right. So you have, what else do you have over there? You have Melbourne, but everything's what, an hour, like 4 hours away or something like that?
Yeah, 4 to 7. We have Sydney,
Yeah,
Queensland,
Sydney.
New South Wales. Yeah, so we have about
Yeah,
4 or 5
if you did an Australian tour, how many dates can you actually do? Yeah. So I would probably like Melbourne, you probably have a bunch of, I would probably just like if you're like in the state, I would probably just try everything in that state, and then just make it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious. Is there any like when you're dealing with artists and bands? Is there any main like repeating excuse that bands give you for why they can't do something or why they can't do this?
They all have the same excuse every time. It's either, oh, we can't make it. My girlfriend won't let me. My mom won't let me. My dad won't let me. Oh, we don't have any more our members quit. Like,
If looking back, like hearing stories about bands from the 80s and 90s, it's like there seems to be like I'm sure the struggles existed then to an extent, but like there's some kind of level of like, fuck you, I'm gonna do this anyway. This is my dream. I'm gonna go pursue it. Like people don't have that.
Not now. No, not now. Not now. Maybe in the rap game. I don't know. I don't really deal with rappers, so I don't know. But they tend to be like, I don't care. I'm just gonna do my thing and that's it.
Yeah.
With a lot of these bands, it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I don't know. And they're like, all right.
There's no self-confidence on their part, right? There's no.
I think the kids don't have any self-confidence. They don't have any. They have mental breakdown every time. It's like, what are you doing? Like, your first tour, you're going to be poor. All right, I'm just going to throw that out there. You're going to be poor. You're going to probably eat ramen noodles and grass or whatever. Whatever. You're gonna find an animal to eat that day. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be rich off your first tour.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like bands, they're not, it seems like most bands today, they're not willing to go through that, we'll call it what it is, agony at the start.
Yeah.
The agony. Yeah. They're not strong enough to deal with it.
But it's like a startup. It's like a startup company. That's pretty much what it is. You think half of these big companies made money in the first year? No. In the second year? No. So you're putting all your effort into one thing and trying to keep it going.
Yeah. That's really interesting because like just before, like a few days before today, I was re-listening to the story of Henry Rollins from Black Flag and how torturous apparently the start of when he was in Black Flag, like eating ramen noodles every day, like going tour to tour, not making that much money. And they were a great band and they were going through all this shit. And it's just like, but then they ended up being so highly critiqued today. But it's just like, bands, you just have to just deal with it. And, no one enjoys it. It's not an enjoyable experience, but it turns you stronger. It makes you it makes you a great band. And unfortunately, they don't have the fortitude or the toughness to deal with it, I guess.
Well, yeah. And the problem is I always tell bands you got 2 years. If you can't make it in 2 years, you're done. Get out, Yeah. But you got to put your 2 years in. You can't play. You just can't go on tour for a month and say, all right, next year we'll go on another month tour. No, you got to keep going and see how you deal with it.
Yeah. So it's like to them, like, so to some bands, you say within 2 years, and to them, they're thinking, oh, I'll do the bare minimum and I'll make it big in 2 years.
Yeah. but they only do 2 months for the whole 2 years, and you're like, what are you doing?
I can't imagine. Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. I'm not an artist, but like putting in that little effort, it's like, what do you
That's what they
expect?
think. That's what they think. And you can't. And you're like, what are you doing? Well, I got to work. Well, I don't know what to tell you. If you got to work, I thought this was your job, being in a band. I thought that's what you want. Well, I want that. But yeah, well,
It kind of feels like when people think about going to bands, in their head, they're already number one on billboards, rich. That's what they want. They don't actually want to grow and deal with the growing process, and which sucks because you need to understand that that's part of the process. No one starts famous.
no.
Don't. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing is too, is a lot of these companies take all the money too. The venues take all the money from the bands. The bands actually don't make really a lot of money playing shows. Like if you play like 1,000 cap room, you're probably making 20 grand. If you're like a big band, if you sell it out and it's $30 a ticket, that's 30,000. So you're probably the band's probably making 10 grand maybe.
Yeah.
And then merch sale, and then on top of that, they got to pay a percentage of their merch sale, so that's probably 20%. So what are they really making? Nothing.
Yeah, and that's split
And
between the band.
Yeah. So then you're making, then you got to pay the crew, the sound guy, and everything, and you're like, at the end of the day, you're only making like $2,000.
It's tough, obviously, but it's just like that. This is the things you have to do until you get noticed. They see your hard work. People like you.
I'm talking about the big band. I'm talking about the big band that sell out 1,000 cap rooms. They're probably only making $2,000, $3,000 a night just for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not really a lot of money. It is to a little band, but
Yeah. In your line of work, in your line of work, you must have had tons of times, especially starting as a promoter. You must have had tons of experiences where you had to choose doing this over something important. You had to prioritize yourself over your daytime shift or whatever it was, relationships. And it's like, you understand you understand the hustle. You understand what it takes to make it. And it's just like, it just sucks that most people don't have it.
Well, the problem is they don't want to.
Yeah.
A lot of these people don't want to work anymore. They don't want to do anything. And then most of the people, all they want to do is complain.
Yeah.
That's all I get all day is complainers. And you're like, what are you complaining about?
Yeah. How do you personally deal with complaints? Are you just like, I'm not going to let it affect me? If you want to ruin your career, that's on you. Or are you like real motive? Like, are you passionate about it and you try and like tell them like, look, stop complaining?
I try to persuade them, but then at the end of the day, if you can't get through to them, I just don't care. I really don't. It gets to the point where you're just like, you know what? You do whatever you want to do. And I'll see you on the other side,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The strong will survive and the others. Yeah. It's just, even though obviously I'm just a writer, but it's just like, I know for myself, and obviously I'm not even big yet, but like for the first 2 years of me writing, I was writing for no one. My family, two people, and I was like writing review after review and getting 0 views. I kept going, but it's like now I have something of a following, but it's just like 2 years. I remember 2 years of just nothing. It's just like, it sucks, but you kind of have to, if you want to do what you want to do, you have to push through the hard times.
If you want to keep on going, if you want to work for a magazine or if you want to work for a newspaper, or you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I'm curious, did you have any doing what you do, were you completely self-taught or did you do some studying for it, like business or anything in university or school?
I was self-taught, but I talked to a lot of agents and I talked to a lot of managers, and some of those guys helped me out. show me the ropes, how to write an email, write this and write that, and just gave me tips on how. But a lot of these bands, they don't ask questions. They don't, the whole thing is you got to ask questions. And if you can't ask questions, then,
Yeah. Like you need to be willing to learn. That's like key part of anything.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. So that's cool. Like I love that yourself, like being self-taught, I think like not many people can accomplish. I think it's a very particular way to do it. And not everyone can handle not many people can succeed being self-taught, but obviously you did and a few others have. But it's just like it's a mentality. It's like I'm gonna do this who cares if I have education or whatever. I'm gonna do my dream and teach myself. And I think that's a really cool skill to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's things going for you these days? Like current times, have you been getting, like a lot of success from bands and,
Like I'm working with a lot of bands now. It's like, but they're all indie bands, and they're all baby bands. Like everybody said, they're baby bands, and all they do is complain all day. So I love it.
Yeah. You must see yourself as kind of like a master splinter of the group, a mentor. Like you must see yourself.
I'm pretty much a dad. I'm pretty much their dad, and I want to kill them all. So.
Yeah, nah, I understand that. So interestingly enough, I actually have a set of questions here sent by good old Dana himself that he wanted me to ask you. So right. I'm going to list these questions, and and I thought it would be a fun little thing to add to the interview. He asks, at what point in your career did you realize you were gay?
When I was gay. when I had a glory hole. And Frank on the other side said, "Hey, you want me to suck you off?" And I said, "All right." That's when I realized I was gay.
Did influences like Backstreet Boys or 98 Degrees weigh heavily on you coming out of the closet?
Did I what?
Did influences like Backstreet Boys or 98 Degrees weigh heavily on you coming out of the closet?
Yeah. Trent Reznor and Marilyn Manson were my influences to come out.
And I'll just ask this last question, top or bottom? From Dana himself.
What's the question?
Oh, he just asked top or bottom.
I'm a top. And what are you? Are you a bottom?
I've never actually experienced it, but these are just from Dana. So
Are you versatile? You know what Dana is? You know why Dana has that mustache or that the thing behind the under his thing?
Why is that?
That's the ass tickler for his band. He tickles their ass with that.
Well, you heard it here first. Thanks for a little bit of information. So one thing I want to ask you, in your opinion, what is the most underrated and overrated album of all time?
I can do band, I can't do albums.
Okay, band.
Band, Nirvana's overrated. Pearl Jam overrated. Cody Simpson overrated. Justin Bieber's overrated. Underrated. I don't even know. I don't even know who's underrated. I listen to everything, so I'd probably say Mozart's underrated because no one listens to Mozart anymore or Beethoven.
True.
And I bet nobody even knows who they are. If you went back in time and said, "Hey, Mozart and Beethoven," your music ain't going to be played in like the 20th, like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
What do you think they would say to you? What?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds accurate. I think that's
like,
how
does anybody listen to classical rock? classical music anymore? Does anybody listen to classical music? No, no. Does anybody do ballroom dancing anymore? No.
It's a lost art for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
See, the
And
problem is,
I don't think it's coming back. That's never coming back.
well, I mean, the way I look at it is like, who's skilled enough to match Beethoven and Mozart? Like, I don't think there's a person a lot who could like match that level of skill. Like, even if they tried. So it's like,
Yeah, but the first thing you know in piano is Mozart or Beethoven. That's playing piano. But I don't think you can. I don't know if anybody could write a symphony.
yeah, sure. And the problem is, at least here in Australia, I don't know what it's like there, but like whenever I call like bill centers or mobile companies, they always use on the hold call, they use the classical music.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like,
that's the only people that use. Other than that, it's like a dead thing,
yeah, no, it's a definitely a lost art, and hopefully in our lifetime we can see a resurrection of it if we're lucky.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely have my fingers crossed on that one.
Unless you get a rapper to do it, a rapper could probably do it, or maybe like an EDM guy.
Yeah, we should definitely look into that. See if someone can resurrect.
Yeah.
Classic 2.0.
Yeah, pretty much.
You heard it here first. We're going to try our best to bring back the era of classic. Well, I guess it wouldn't be called classic now. It's called like, I don't know what it'll be called, but bring back.
I don't know what it would. Yeah. I don't know.
It's not classic. It's classic 2.0. That's what we'll name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has been fun. I already have all the questions I already had answered for you. Thank you again for having me on this. Having me on the interview.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to make sure to push this as much as I can on my end, and let's have you destroy Dana in numbers.
All right, I will.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good one.
Yep.